Hi, I'm Katie. I drank for 9 months and then I was born. The term I prefer to use is partially sighted because I feel that people can get a better understanding because a lot of times when they think legally blind, they think, well, I'm blind by law, by law I'm allowed to have a cane. You know, that's the thing they think of. A lot think I'm either totally blind or just, somehow allowed to have the cane. So when I tell them that I'm partially sighted, that I can see some things but not all things, it gives them a better understanding of what I can see and what I can't. I have no depth perception. It's very hard when I'm walking downstairs, for example. Visually, if I were to look at them, all the stairs would blur together and look like one flat image. Whereas if I'm using my long white cane to navigate, then I can tell each individual stair by the cane's feedback and be able to adapt to my environment, using my cane as a tool that helps me. I had time that was spent in special education classes to make sure that I had everything to meet my needs. By the time that I was school aged, they had figured out that I had fetal alcohol effects, and so I was being, you know, I was being tested on my mental and different acuities for how much I could process during learning, and they thought it best to mainstream me, but to also give me study time in special ed. The study time was wonderful, but the mainstreaming was not so much. Many times I would get things adapted for me, such as having my books blown up in large print, um, but the content of the books and the math problems were often difficult to understand, and many people didn't know how to teach me with processes that I could relate to. I went to regular public school. I was mainstreamed into classes with regular education students, and I had special time set aside for me in special ed classes for resources in study hall. I, when I was a kid, it wasn't that I it wasn't that I didn't realize that I wasn't like the others. I grew up in a very unprejudiced, open-minded environment, so I was taught that everyone had their differences and that, normal was just an idealistic dream. I know many of you out there with fetal alcohol syndrome may have times where you get down on yourself or people will try and point out your flaws and your faults, but don't dwell on what you can't do. Think of all the possibilities that you can do. Think of what you love the best and how you can apply it in real life. Take my example. Singing is my passion, and I'm involved in a community choir in my small town, and we're keeping classical music alive for the community, and I get a joy out of performing every season.